Empowerment Through Knowledge and Sarina Stone present the Tequila Drinker's Guide to Health and Wellness radio show with your host, Medical QiGong author, practitioner, and educator, Sarina Stone, featuring the director of the Universal Healing Tao Medical QiGong System, Master Mantak Chia. This is episode 28, Neutralizing Fear with Medical QiGong.
Hey, this is Sarina, and we are back here in beautiful Tao Garden in the dining hall. Most of you know Master Chia is on tour and is unavailable. He's teaching all over the world right now. So he's asked one of his favorite medical QiGong instructors, Tevia Feng, to come and talk with us. Tevia is the founder of White Tiger QiGong School and a master in his own right at Medical QiGong. Now, 2 weeks ago, if I didn't mention, because we're here in the dining hall, you guys, if you hear the blender and the dishes and the people, and I think there's a motorbike somewhere around here right now, that's because this is happening live.
Yeah, we're not in a studio.
No, we're definitely not in a studio. We're two people who really love Medical QiGong, and we are here for the next couple of months now to demystify ancient Chinese secrets. Let's bring a little Western knowledge into why people are still doing QiGong. It's not as mystical as one might think. Now, 2 weeks ago, Tevia promised our listeners that we would talk about the emotion of fear and how that affects our life, and then if you have excessive fear, which a lot of us do, what are we going to do about it? So you said you had a great story.
Yeah, I have a really cool story. And it's really how you can truly use QiGong. And I used QiGong to save my life. I was near death, okay? Near death experience, pretty dramatic, very intense, okay? Ready for this one? So I was hiking through the forest. I'm a wilderness junkie. I love trekking through the forests. I love wilderness survival. I was hiking in
you just lost me there.
Yeah, okay.
I like trekking through the forest too. The whole wilderness survival. That's fine. Okay, keep going.
So I was on a multi-day journey, and my map started getting a little messed up, and I was hiking up in northern U.S. in the northern forests, and I ended up somehow in Canada.
Oh,
and
I hate it when that happens.
I was
Without a passport?
Because I didn't plan on going to Canada.
Passport camping, right?
No, I was.
Ooh,
so I come out. And I noticed that my map didn't match what was happening. So my map showed that there was this river, and it would lead me into the town. Well, I get to this river, and it turns into many different streams that go in many different directions. So I'm looking at all the different directions, and I'm looking at my map, and I see if I go in the wrong direction, I'm going to go deep into the forest. Okay, so I'm starting to get really nervous, and it's starting to get dark, and I'm running out of food because I had planned on actually being in town by the previous day.
Oh.
And so I was a little off, so obviously my wilderness survival skills are not top-notch, but here I was, and I was running out of iodine pills to filter the water. Mm-hmm. So things were getting a little tight. And
were you alone?
I was alone.
Okay.
Now, I know how to, forage for wild foods, but let's also add this into the mix. It was wintertime.
Oh.
And so it was freezing cold. And to make water, yeah, I can, but it's not easy, and it's very time consuming, and I don't feel like, living on water that I'm melting down from the snow. Mm. And so, and it's slim pickings in this time of year. So
what do you mean?
In the wintertime, it's very hard to get food.
Okay.
So I go back, and it's getting dark, and so I decide I need to make a fire. And out yells these people. I hear these people yell to me in French. And I say, I don't shoot. I come out of my tent and they have shotguns on me. Shotgun.
What?
Yeah, seriously. And they're yelling at me in French. I say, I'm American. I speak English. So they say, oh, you stupid American. What are you doing here? I realized I'm in Quebec.
Surprise! Were you on their property?
Yeah, it turns out I was on some rich guy's property and he was a hunter. So he searches my tent and he says, okay, I thought you were poaching for meat on my property. So he goes, you better be careful. There's a lot of wolves out here. I said, wolves? Out here? And he said, yeah. He said, keep your fire nice and hot tonight. So I go back. He says, I pick you up tomorrow in the morning. I'll take you into town. So I said, okay. So I go and I late at night, I start to hear, ho, ho, all around me. So I realized I'm kind of encircled by these howls and I'm like puffing on the fire and I'm totally freaked out like this thing is going to go out and I'm really freaked out. So talk about fear, right? So I probably about by dawn, the howls start to dissipate. They get further and further away and I feel like I can fall asleep and I just fall asleep. I was so tired. Then I wake up. And I look at my watch and it's noon. And this hunter, the owner of the property, still wasn't back. And I don't want to go another night there. I don't want to be another night in this place surrounded by howling wolves.
Okay,
that freaked me out.
I'm going to give you that.
So I go back down to the streams that I saw. And I look at my map and now my heart starts to pump. I start to realize the danger that I'm facing here. Because I don't see where this guy's house even is. It looks like I'm in the complete middle of the forest. And so if I take the wrong stream, I'm pretty screwed. I'm going to be deep in the forest in Canada and God knows where. So I really realize I can't make a decision like this. So I go back and I just start doing my QiGong. And the QiGong I do is squeezing out my kidneys because I know kidneys are associated with fear. It took me about literally 45 minutes of doing QiGong to squeeze out all the fear and calm my body and really relax my body. Really dynamic QiGong. And finally, after 45 minutes of doing that, I stopped. I started doing my deep breathing QiGong meditation. And I really calmed my heartbeat down. I calmed my whole body. And then I just felt inside, where should I go? And I chose a stream and I followed it and it was the right stream. Sorry to punch my fist. I just
okay.
I followed the right stream, made it into town. And I was fine. And that I'll never forget as long as I live. That's a story for the grandkids.
Yeah.
And QiGong saved my life. And what really was happening there is the fear had gripped my body. I was frozen like a deer caught in headlights. And my whole body froze. I knew I have the tools of what to do. Most people would be freaking out or taking the wrong decision. I knew before I make a decision, I know I need to do my QiGong. I need to relax my body. I need to breathe deeply. I need to squeeze out all the fear out of my body until my body can really relax. And then I can make the right decision. And I made the decision based on my intuition. And how does intuition work? Intuition works when you're in a relaxed state.
For sure.
Yeah. So I relaxed deeply and I concentrated and I felt. And it works. It works.
It does. Now, you mentioned the kidneys. That's the QiGong that you chose to do.
Yes.
Right, so you associated fear with the kidneys. And I'm right there with you. And again, Master Chia's methods for working on the kidneys and the internal work is definitely to breathe in gentleness and to breathe out fear. And everybody that does it, and there's 3,000 teachers and I don't even know how many students. We all pretty much have that same experience, and I think you're right. Especially if we're in the grips of fear.
Yeah.
We got to do it for a while sometimes. Fear is different than we talked a couple weeks ago about anger. Fear is totally different. Fear takes over, and a lot of people that are listening right now have had that experience of just being frozen. And we all know frozen in fear. We've all heard about it. Some of us have actually experienced it. There's a physiological reaction to fear at a certain point. I did want to point out one thing to our listeners. Tevia said he didn't want to make a decision when he was in that place of fear. And it's not exactly how you worded it, but that is what you said. And folks, think about it. Making choices based on fear, it is not a good idea. You want to calm down. You want to get in touch with yourself. You want to get rational and make a rational decision. That's why they call it that. We can't make a rational decision if we're in a place of excessive negative emotion. And today we're talking about fear. I'd like to transition into the physiology of fear. Okay, and how damaging that is to, we're going to go back to the kidneys.
So what happens when, we know from Chinese medicine, they teach us that fear is the emotion associated with the kidneys. Now what happens is the lower back freezes up. And that lower back, a lot of movement comes from the lower back. Twisting motions, forward and back bends, this all comes from the lower back. And when that's frozen up, the whole body freezes up, because if that's the core of your body. So what you really need to do is, it's hard to calm down when your body's frozen. Even if you do deep breathing, it's still difficult, because the fascia, the skin, the whole body is in this stuck position and nothing can flow. The blood can't flow. So a lot of the medical QiGong that works with the kidneys and fear has a lot of twisting in it and a lot of back and forward motions on the back. So like you can just, a simple exercise anyone can do is they can just cross their arms, they can stand with their legs straight, take a deep breath in, and then bend forward, keeping your legs straight, and breathe out. And you'll feel the kidneys sort of stretch, the lower back stretches. This allows the kidneys to expand in their sphere. Okay. Now you come up, rolling your spine up, bend your knees, and then bend backwards. As you come up, you inhale up, and then you bend back and you exhale, and you feel that squeeze on your kidneys. As you're bending backwards, you're compressing the kidneys. So this compression and expansion of the kidneys, anyone can do it. It's very easy, and it doesn't take much space. You can do it in a hotel room. But that's a simple, quick way that you can just start moving and relaxing the kidneys through this compression and expansion. That's a tangible example. Another way is you extend your arms directly out to the sides, straighten them, stand in place with your legs straight, and just twist gently to the left as far as you can go. Feel that when you twist to the left, that's going to compress the left kidney and expand the right kidney. Then you twist the other way and it's going to compress the right kidney and expand the left kidney. So this is twisting, and then you have compression and expansion.
And what do you think about bringing self-awareness, bringing your mind inside the body?
Absolutely. When we're doing this, we want to actually focus on the kidneys. Now, after we do this, the strategy that we have to deal with it, after you've relaxed the kidneys and got the circulation going, then we stop and we go in a sort of meditative position. That just means basically standing still and upright in a comfortable position, or sitting down, and you breathe in, and we use the black and blue color. That's the energy for the kidneys. And the kidneys are associated with the element of water. Okay, so you breathe in like a beautiful black or blue energy into the kidneys. And also, if I hear any water, I imagine that like the sound of water actually penetrating into my kidneys. And I think of water like a waterfall or a lake, something that you associate with peacefulness. And some people like the ocean waves, that works. Whatever works for you, but something associated with water that makes you feel peaceful. And then just let the kidneys relax, and as you breathe out, let go of the fear. And you can even make we have the fear sound, which is letting go of for the kidney sound, which is letting go of fears. Chui, chui.
Of course. See, again, you have the Chinese accent.
Yeah.
Mine is like this, right? Yeah. And you've got the Chinese accent.
Yeah.
But again, very similar to Master Chia's presentation of this kind of medical qigong. And again, he developed so that we could all always think of something during the formulas, a positive and negative attribute. So you actually used the word gentle when you were speaking about this for water, or peaceful. We breathe in peacefulness or gentleness all the way down to the kidney, always smiling. That's huge for me. And then exhale. We're going to try that. Exhale the fear.
Yeah.
Now, my own twist for all the exhalations of negative emotions, I see a dark gray cloudy color.
Oh, yeah.
Exit through my mouth if I'm doing the posture and the eyes are open, and you guys are going to have to find Tevia or I to learn these postures for the organs, and you're not going to get the same stuff from him that you get from me, and you're definitely not going to get dynamic movement from me. Tevia, he's that guy. But if my eyes are open while I'm doing my kidney posture or liver posture, I let that dark gray cloudy smoke come out through my eyes and my mouth.
That's great.
Yeah, and again, I know Tevia said it on the last show, we're not trying to get rid of all fear. That is stupid, okay?
Yeah.
A little bit of fear is actually kind of
Can be good, yeah.
Absolutely.
If you're fearless and you have the wrong situation, you're screwed.
Pretty much. So we just want to balance that out with peacefulness and gentleness so you can make, as we said last time, choices. And that is what Tevia's story really illustrated, is that he had to do something to stop the cycle of fear, take his power back, and put himself in a place of choice. And lo and behold, the choice that he made was the right one, the healthy one. The last thing I want to add on this subject is this concept that the brain, when we have a thought, it emits a wave. We call that in quantum physics, right? A wave of possibility. And we are finding out more and more concretely every year that wave of possibility, when it hits a solid particle, becomes a particle of reality, but it programs the particle of reality with whatever thought was in it. Okay, now, that's a little bit out there, listeners, but that is a reality. And when we carry excessive amounts of fear, the very thing we are afraid of is probably going to show up. And here is my example of that. This is not a fearful example, but most of you guys and gals out there have had that weird thing happen where you think about somebody that you used to know for 2 or 3 days. I mean, they are just on your mind, a few times a day, every day. And lo and behold, you run into them at the store, they call you on the phone, somebody brings up their name at a gathering. This happens all the time. If I ask students in a classroom, has that ever happened to you? Well over half the class will raise their hand if you're in a place where you can be reached. So we image what we image, we create. And to sit around and think about what could happen and all the bad things that could happen, it is not going to help your present situation transform into something you feel safe and peaceful and gentle about. That is not how that works. With fear, God, I can't remember who said there's nothing to fear but fear itself.
John F. Kennedy.
Was it?
Yep.
Okay then. Nothing to fear but fear itself. If you look at that from the perspective of quantum physics, that is a very real statement. So I wanted to throw that out there. There's another reason that we don't want to live in fear. And as Tevia shared with us today, there's some things we can do about it. We have people who speak another language coming up and they're talking very loud. But welcome to Del Garden. It's the United Nations around here. Okay? It really is, isn't it?
Absolutely. You get people from all over the world. It's fun. I get to meet so many different people from different cultures and interact. It's a lot of fun.
I'll tell you something. Talk about fearless. A very dear couple of friends of mine are here from the States right now. And she's pretty fearless. I mean, and she's really something. Well-traveled, sings, dances. Queen of the Gypsies, my friend, she is. She walked into the introduction on the Sunday night for the basic retreat with Master Chia. And she was not going to sign up. She, you know, I'm sure she's like anybody else. I don't even know what this is, da-da-da-da. Now, that's a mild form of fear. I'm just going to step back here in the presence of something that I don't recognize. And so she was quiet. But she was in the back of the room. And after she heard all these amazing people from, they had a huge amount of countries represented in this last basic retreat with Master Chia. When she saw how many people from around the world came here to Dell Garden to participate and learn medical QiGong, by the time the microphone got to her, she totally changed her mind, stepped into that fearless space that she can live in, you know, as the queen of the gypsies. And next thing I know, she comes back to the house and says, guess who else is taking the basic retreat?
Oh, nice.
So, you know, when we are in a place of gentleness, our mind is open. What happened for her was her heart opened, okay? And, I mean, she literally wept. It was such a beautiful thing. She wanted to be a part of it. We see more clearly what is right for us instead of manifesting what we're afraid of. So that's my girly perspective. And, Tevia, any last thoughts on fear and gentleness and all that stuff? Or do you think we've nailed it today?
Well, just get out there and squeeze out the fear out of the kidneys and let it out of them with the sounds and yeah.
You know what? With this one, you guys, because fear is such a debilitating emotion if it's excessive, I'm actually going to ask Tevia to just one more time. I want you to tell our listeners how can they get onto your website, contact you, and let's go deeper into this. It's a big deal.
Yeah, I have a really cool Qigong for fear. It's called Dragon, and it gets a deep, deep twist and opening of the kidneys with this stance that really builds strength. Because when we go through fear, in Chinese medicine, they say the knees weaken. And so this really strengthens the legs and strengthens the knees and really gets a deep, deep twist on the kidneys. It feels so good, too. So I teach that in the 5-element Qigong, and you can check me out, White Tiger QiGong. That's QiGong. That's how you spell Qigong in Chinese Mandarin. So that's White Tiger QiGong.com. I have some online courses as well. White Tiger QiGong online course. You can check that out, and some books you can download to learn some of those exercises and get started.
If they write to your school, somebody will write back?
Absolutely. If you contact us on our website, usually someone will get back to you within 24 hours. And I'd love to have you come out here to Tao Garden in Thailand. And it's an exotic place to study Qigong, and it feels so good.
Yeah, it does. I can tell you've been watching Tevia's students, and they're a happy bunch of folks. All right, thanks for joining us, and we'll see you guys again in about 2 weeks.
See ya.
Thank you for joining us on another Empowerment Through Knowledge adventure. Want to learn more? Find Master Chia at mantakchia.com. That's MANTAKCHIA.com. Find more medical QiGong lessons, books, and information about studying directly with Sarina at sarinastone.com. SARINASTONE.com. Thanks for listening. If you like what you learned, subscribe today.